Welcome to video 5 in a series of introductory videos for SolidCAM. This video's topic is the pocket toolpath. So in pocketing, basically what we're doing is we're choosing a 2D geometry, and we're going to basically tell the tool to travel along that 2D geometry and then take that in terms of depth down in the Z direction. So it's essentially a truly 2.5D toolpath. So let's take a look at how that works. So I'll go to add milling operation, pocket toolpath, and in the first window, we're choosing our geometry. So what we have access to here is a couple options here. Really what we want to do here is start with our geometry itself. So I'll click on new geometry. And I'm just going to grab the top edge to start. And when we choose chain geometry for both pocket and profile, you want to start by choosing a solid edge, an edge off the solid there. Or if you're going to work off sketches, choose the actual sketch. And you can see how it highlights in orange there. Once you've got that edge selected, you can go around and choose the individual edges if you like. You can even go down and then across, because all you're really doing is just projecting those lines to the tool plane. You can see that there, that purple line popped up there. And all we're really doing there is choosing from the solid, and that means it's associative to that edge as well. In terms of selections, if we look at the left menu here, if I don't want to have those two selections, those two last selections I've done there, I can just do an undo. If I want to continue with my selection, you can see there the red arrow is my next selected item there. And the two blue lines there, those are blue highlights of the edges that I could select at that vertice. So I can click on the next button and let it just continue to choose those edges for me, as long as it's pointing at the right edge. And if it's not that edge, I can tell it to change direction using these items down here. And at that vertice, it'll just toggle through with each click whatever option I have. In this case, I only have the two, so it's just toggling between the two. I'll leave it there, and I can keep clicking on next. If for whatever reason, when I chose these chains, it's in the wrong direction, I can reverse the direction of the chain, in this case, the direction of the cutting as well, but I want to actually leave it in that direction, so we can do climb milling. I want to choose the whole pocket. So what I could do here is I can just say, constant Z, find all the edges in that same Z plane that are connected. So if I click on that, it just finds all of that for me. And that's it. Once it has that solid red color, once it pops up in the list here, the chain has been selected. I can just click the green check mark to accept that. Next, I'll choose my tool. In this case, just like we saw in previous videos, I'm just going to choose a tool right from the tool table, one that I've previously defined. This is a 1-inch tool. Under levels, I have similar controls to what you'll see in the other toolpaths. Basically, I can say from the top of the target or the top of the stock. In this case, in the previous video, we already faced it, so I'm going to say the top of the target because we already faced to that target face right there. I'm going to take this maybe to the bottom of the target. So that's the bottom face. So this is one level of associativity. I could also highlight that 0 and just choose that vertice there to say start it from the top of the stock, or in this case, the top of the part, top of the target. And if I want bottom of the target, I could actually flip it around and do the same thing. I'll just highlight that 1, click on that bottom face there, and we're still getting the same numbers, but now it's associative to that face, whereas before it was just associated with whatever I defined as my target and the bottom face of that target. Under step down, I can tell it what step downs I want as I go through the tool path. In this case, let's just put in a 1/2 inch so we can see some passes on this. And because usually the depth is not a nice round number like that, I can just click on equal step down, and you'll see from the graphic there, rather than doing 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and then whatever's remainder, I could just make it maximum 1/2 inch, and it actually divides the depth amongst those passes. That's a way to just equalize the pressure on the tool. Under technology, we have controls over how this tool is going to travel along the pocket. So we have contour, hatch plus finish, and plunging pattern. Hatch is just a zigzag back and forth. You can see in the bottom left corner there, it's just zigzagging back and forth. It will maintain climb and conventional depending on whichever one you're choosing, and it'll just do more of like a serpentine kind of toolpath, but it stays within the cavity and it zigzags back and forth in whatever direction you tell it. As soon as you choose the option here, this second tab gives you the actual parameters that you can control. So user defined angle, I can say 0 degrees from the x-axis or any angle off of the x-axis. If I choose optimal angle, what it does is it actually analyzes the toolpath and finds the longest path, basically the longest zigzag back and forth across that cavity or across that pocket. I'll use user defined, and we'll just get it to go in the X direction. Keep cutting direction, yes. So the cutting direction will actually be dictated by the geometry. In this case, we're going to leave it as conventional because we had it as a counterclockwise toolpath, counterclockwise geometry. So we'll keep the cutting direction, and we'll tell it the zigzag direction rather than one way. One way will actually make it retract and reposition. Zigzag will do that serpentine. At the edges of the toolpath, either I can do that straight 90-degree turn, or I can add a fillet. And the fillet will actually just smooth out the toolpath. That will leave behind some cusps there. So one of the other options we saw previously was hatch plus finish. Essentially what that is the zigzag pattern, but an outside perimeter pass to eliminate any kind of cusp left behind by that 90-degree turn or the fillets. If we take a look at contour, that is much more of a offset style. That's a racetrack basically style there, where it'll offset from the edges of the pocket and work its way inwards or outwards, depending on if it's open or closed pocket. Again, you tell it from inside, outside. We have, again, corner controls, but here we actually have loop and sharp, because in the case of a square pocket, that 90-degree turn will definitely leave behind a little more material there. So you might want to loop out and loop back in to eliminate that cusp, or you could just jut out and jut back in using sharp. Plunging pattern is if it's a deeper part and it's a stronger part and you want to actually use a drill to drill that out. So this actually just generates a series of drill patterns to drill out that pocket. But for this pocket, let's go with contour. In the main technology tab of the technology section, you can see that you control your overlap. So this is an actual value or a percentage of how much you're going to overlap with the previous pass. So right now I have set to 50% of the tool diameter. That's literally just going to step over by 50%. It's going to step over by the radius of the tool and overlap by that much, essentially. Top right corner, if I want to set this as a roughing toolpath, I need to leave some material behind. So I'll say, let's just leave 10 thou on the walls. If there are any islands, in this case, there are not. And on the floor. Now in this case, there isn't a floor, so I'll just leave that at 0. If we do a save and calculate, we'll see that because I chose the top chain, we've done that entire pocket. But what we need to notice here is that from that top view, this toolpath is actually going to wipe out those tabs, because those tabs were on the bottom of the pocket and not included in my original geometry. So pocketing toolpath is going to follow your chain exactly. It's just going to go down in the depth. We have these two half-inch depth of cuts, and they're actually going to wipe out the tabs. Now, what we could do is we can go back to the geometry section, engage 3D model gouge protection, and what that'll do is make this much more of a recognition toolpath. It's going to recognize the gouges and remove the gouges. It's not a 3D toolpath, but in this case, it will actually modify the toolpath in terms of its prismatic quality. What I mean by that is you can see that it's going around that tab and it's avoiding that tab. So even though this is a 2.5D toolpath, it has some 3D features to it that allow you to adjust for these sort of changes here and here. Now, it's a simple pocketing toolpath. You just choose your tool and you tell it what geometry you'd like to go through. But if we take a look at the stock, let me just engage my updated stock here. We'll see that I left some material in these corners here, and obviously we left the tabs behind as well. Now, that is because I'm using a 1-inch tool, but I have a radius in this corner of basically 3.125. So the 1-inch tool could not fit in there. We need to get a tool that can. So let's open that toolpath back up. We'll do a save and copy. We'll use the same geometry, the same levels, but we'll change the tool. Okay, in this case, let's select the tool. And tool selection from a global library was covered in the previous video on tool tables. I'm just going to grab this 1/2-inch tool, and we'll use that tool. Now, if I generate this save and copy or save and calculate, what it'll do is it'll just redo the tool path with the same parameters. It's essentially going to do the same pocket. But that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it to actually address the corners that I left behind. So when I go to technology, I can change it from none to rest, and then this third tab opens up where it's basically asking me, okay, we're going to do a rest operation, meaning that it's going to remove the remaining stock. It's going to look at what the previous tool did not do and eliminate that material. So I need to tell it what the previous tool was. Well, the previous tool was a 1-inch tool. Previous wall offset was 10 thou, and I did not have an extension / overlap. So what I'll do here is I will just save and calculate. And you can see it's just going on the corners there. And it recognized all the corner rads that could not be done. So there's actually a little bit of a radius there. There's definitely a radius around that tab and the radius in the corner there, all done by this previous tool. So let's say we wanted to take care of those tabs now. Well, those tabs were not done by that previous toolpath, but I could still use the same tool. I just need to address them as different geometry. So what I'll do is I'll open up that previous toolpath, the one that was using the 1-inch tool, do a save and copy so that it immediately inserts it right below there. We're going to use the same tool, the same parameters, everything's the same. We're just going to change the geometry. The geometry here, we're actually going to use our smart face function. What that allows me to do is literally just choose the bottom of the pocket, in this case the bottom of the top of those tabs, and you can see that it automatically generates the geometry. If I click on this, we have the walls on this side, and this should be an open edge here. And that's what's indicated by the yellow and the purple. Yellow and the red. So that red line right there is the wall. The yellow is an open edge, meaning that the tool can cross those lines. So when I click on that face, it's going to recognize all that for me. So geometry selection for pockets, as long as it's a blind pocket, not a through pocket, we can grab that edge, and we can grab the face and then get those edges for me. I had to do that previously. I had to previously choose the edge there because I didn't have a face to click on. But once you have a face, it automatically grabs the geometry. It automatically grabs the pocket depth as well. So it grabbed that for me. Let's just do a save and calculate on that. And you can see the toolpath now is going and doing those tabs. Now, pocket literally is just any kind of step over type toolpath. It doesn't have to be a cavity or a boss, it's both. It depends on how you set up your geometries. If you have open edges, even if it's open on all sides, that is still a pocket, it's just an open pocket on all sides. If you nest your chains, for instance, let's do the outside of the part. Again, we'll use the 1-inch tool. So I'll just double click on this, save and copy. And I'll change the geometry so that we start from the outside going in. So I'm going to grab that edge there. We'll do a constant Z. And if I left it as is, it will take this chain and step over inwards to machine that pocket, literally machining all of that. And that's not what we're looking for. We actually want it to stop at the part. So I'll do a second chain where it represents the outside of the part. So now in between those two chains is what I want SolidCAM to machine using the pocketing toolpath. But my 1-inch tool will not fit in between these two chains. But that's not what I'm asking it to do. I'm asking it to actually just machine until it reaches the inner chain. So I need to tell it that this outer chain is open, meaning that it can cross those lines. It can do a side entry. So if I just right click, I can go to mark chain as open. That chain is open. I can click the green check mark. Levels, let's just set the levels back to the bottom of the target. Save and calculate. And you can see I've done a side entry and I've machined my way around the part. Now, it's actually plunging into the part, and that is a mistake that I made because I forgot that I want to go from the outside in. So, since we're using contour, I can go to the contour tab and say from the outside in. I have an open pocket, so I can tell it to approach from the outside. So as soon as you add an open edge, it opens up these other options here for you to control something like an open edge. So save and calculate. You can see now that the tool is actually starting from the outside and it does the side entry. Any questions of this or anything else from SolidCAM, just give us a call at 1-866-975-1115, extension 2. You can send us your parts or your questions via the ticket system at solidcamsupport.com. And stay tuned for the rest of the videos in this video series. Thanks for watching.